So word of mouth, we all know what that is, don't we? Yes, we do. It's basically when somebody recommends you, you get work, and it's probably more likely that you're going to get the work with a recommendation than any other way. But a lot of us think word of mouth, well, there's nothing you can do about it. It either happens or it doesn't. I suppose all we can do is do a good job so people are inclined to recommend us. But there's a bit more to it than that. Once you're fully aware of its power, because you are subconsciously, you know it, you practice it, you do it all the time yourself. You seek recommendations because you seek certainty where someone else has used a particular supplier and had a good experience, you are more likely to. So what if you could harness word of mouth and do something about it? It's really good for your business. You'll get more recommendations. You'll get business more easily. You'll shorten the decision-making time. You'll win compared to other people if you do it correctly, particularly in construction when you're talking about tendering situations. You can actually stand out if you do something about word of mouth. So let's dig a little deeper. So what I want to talk about is word of mouth and how to get more of it, how to get referred more frequently, and how you can combine that with networking. So what I'm going to do today, what you'll learn by listening to this, I'm going to give you some evidence that's important. Now, I know we all know it, but when you know how deep it goes, then you think, actually, this deserves more of my attention. So let's dig into that. I'm going to talk a little bit about, I have some experience with construction companies, word of mouth, and how you can amplify word of mouth deliberately rather than waiting for it to happen. I'm going to talk about bottling word of mouth because that's the most important thing. Your client can't always be there and they don't have to be. You can bottle it and then uncork it whenever you need it. And also show you how to combine it with networking so your credibility is never in doubt. But let's go back to the beginning because everyone thinks that the world is changing and changing rapidly. Because we're all online now, the ways of doing business are going to change, and they're not. And I'll explain why. I'm going to talk about evolution. So this pigeon was having a fantastic time, had complete freedom, very little danger, until that is, the horseless carriage came along. Things started to move a lot more quickly. So things did change for the pigeon. But the problem is, and I actually looked this up, it took about 30,000 years for human beings, they reckon, to moderately improve their tolerance, their digestion tolerance to cheese. 30,000 years. And that was only a minor improvement. Now, the horseless carriage and subsequently the car have started to move faster. But evolution for the pigeon doesn't. This is what happens. They can't move out of the way of a speeding car. They can't evolve quickly enough to adapt. So our DNA doesn't change. We are still human beings and we are governed by our survival instinct. And we want to benefit from the experience of others, which is why word of mouth is still vital. And in fact, it's amplified online. So it's important to do something about it. And here's some evidence. I've been following this trust in advertising study for far too long, probably about 20 years actually, because it's been an important part of everything I've done. And really, the most important thing, this is a survey, I can't remember the figures for this one. It used to be about 60,000 people in about 60 countries. And they do this every 2 years. And they're looking at What do people trust when they're making a purchasing decision? And number one is recommendations from people I know. It's always been number one. And a little bit further down the line, I can't see client reviews, but client reviews and online client reviews have often featured in these results. I can't imagine it's disappeared, but advertising opinion about brands from influencers. Now, influencers don't need to just be famous people. They can be people that you respect in the same sector as you, recommending a particular company. But this is the important thing. The biggest influence on a purchasing decision is the opinions of other people, recommendations from people you know. So that's important to bear in mind. Everything else you do is not as important as word of mouth. So what if you can bottle it? Now, let's give some examples from construction of this is a typical case study that you see. In fact, I had trouble finding these. This had a little bit of info. I went through about 20 websites to get one of these. And typically they are dull narratives. It just explains what they did. If you're somebody who is a property investor or somebody who's putting a construction project out to tender, you do know how you put one brick on top of another. And then you put windows in and then a roof and a job's done. People know that. But when they're looking to make a decision, you need to get the opinions of real clients, people just like them, capture the experience. So this is one I did when I was working white label for an agency. This is where we interviewed this guy's client. He does small groundwork projects on modular builds, modular build homes. He does all the groundworks. And this was part of a marketing campaign. But you can also expand this and do a little bit more and do the little narrative on the mechanics of the project and all your certifications and how you follow health and safety, etc. But this one was developed, and it's called a case study, but I would argue this is a client story. This is where I interviewed his customer to find out their experience. So how they work to budget, how they work to deadlines, how they dealt with problems on the project. And you've got to do that because people are realists. If you paint the perfect picture, it's not believable. So when you ask your client for how did they handle anything that went wrong, then they'll say, oh yeah, X, Y, and Z went wrong, but what they did is there's A, B, and C. And that was impressive because they got around it. And yeah, we were a couple of days late, but who cares? It could have been a disaster. So this is where a client story, interview the client and feature them more prominent, well, make them the star of the show in your case studies. And what this did, we actually did a direct marketing campaign where we did a survey. We sent them a little stress toy with the branding on, and we had a covering letter. And this won lots of small, 20, 40 grand projects. And I think there was one 180 grand project. So this one small campaign made hundreds of thousands of pounds in work. And in fact, although I didn't get the credit for it, I wrote it, but it actually won the Construction Marketing Awards, the best low budget campaign. It didn't cost 25k, it was below 25k. It was only a few thousand to get them all out in the mail. And it won the highly commended best use of direct marketing. And the reason I'm showing this, it's not to show off, it's to prove that when you actually put word of mouth, bottling it, because that's what we were doing here. We were bottling word of mouth so we could reuse it without their client being present. So that's what you need to do. You need to bottle word of mouth and then uncork it when you need to. So you're not reliant on the client recommending you. So that's what you need to do, bottle word of mouth, then release it. Well, the best ways of doing it is online reviews. You can do case studies as well. I've retired from that, but if anyone does really want to go down that path, give me a shout. I will do the odd one-off, but online reviews are where you want it to be. And this is where, with Linked Online, we can help you get that done. So with the new app, people can review you internally. Other people who've got the app can do it, but we've also got a way for external clients to review you. And we can help you do that, because sometimes it's very awkward for you to ask your customer for a review. So instead, maybe just give us the contact numbers and just say, would you mind acting as a reference and doing a review for this community I'm in? And we'll contact them. It's best if we contact them. If we send them a link, they'll just ignore it. We'll just give them a quick call and say, right, how do you want to do it? When you speak to them, it's more likely you're going to get the review. Then the reviews will actually go directly into the app. And then what you can do is read them first. And if you like them, approve them. And they then appear on your profile. And that is where I'm going to end it, really. Because if you've got word of mouth bottled on your profile on the app, which is in a networking community, then when people look up and see your profile, they can see what other people say about you. But you don't need to just leave it static. On a Friday, type them out and paste your reviews on the Friday pitch in the WhatsApp group. Make people aware that you do a good job, but not through you saying it, through your customer saying it, because 89% of people trust recommendations from people they know. And in this small little world we live in, a lot of the people external from the Caplo community that review you, the people within it will know them. So that's the advice, really, is get focusing on capturing what customers say about you. Focus on their words. Don't talk about the projects you did with a boring case study. In fact, replace the boring case studies with client stories. You'll win more tenders if you're tendering. More clients will convert. And just the act of getting your clients involved in the process, that brings you top of mind again, and you might get more referrals because they start to remember what a great job you did for them, particularly if it was years ago that you dealt with them. So that's it, really. Give us a shout if you want us to build your social proof. It's free. We'll do it for free. And one of the bonuses is, if any of the people we interview are themselves in property and construction, we'll invite them to join the group, take a 30-day trial, and if they become a member, we will refund what your month's membership fee. So do a lot of them and you could have your membership completely free. And at the same time, you're building your word of mouth, you're bottling it. So it's a win-win. So give us a shout and we'll help you. Thank you.